Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well and that your first session went well today. So today we're going to wrap up Learning Unit 2, Debtors and Creditors Reconciliation. Can you just quickly indicate in the chat function? So I had a request that I just sort of recap this on Monday morning, just in our face-to-face class prior to your ICE task being due. Who of you are struggling with this specific learning unit? Can you just indicate in the chat function just a yes or no? Just indicate. I just want to see who's struggling with it, who's not struggling with it. The rest of you? Okay, so I see Tebe is struggling with it. And Denise. Anyone else? Okay, so what I'll do is on Monday, I'll take a 10-minute break from our Learning Unit 3, and then we'll just go through it again in class so that you guys can, if there's something specific, you can ask me in class and then I can re-explain it. But in today's session, if there's anything while we're doing the question that you're wondering about, please just stop me and ask me so we try and see how much we can cover before we get to class next week. And then in the second session, we're going to start with Learning Unit 3, which is our depreciable assets. That is also a topic where students do struggle, but if you do understand the concept, it is also easy test to get marks in a test or in an exam. Okay, so let's continue then with debtors and creditors reconciliation. Okay, so these are just the learning outcomes for this specific learning unit. So the main focus is you need to be able to record the transactions in the individual debtors or creditors ledger, then prepare the control accounts, which is our general ledger T account, and then make any additional corrections if there were errors. So that's what we're going to look at today. And then you prepare the debtors or the creditors reconciliation. So that's basically where I compare the individual transactions I've recorded in each and every debtor or creditor account, and then taking all of their totals, adding it together to get to what the total debtors or creditors should be, and then I compare it to what my my closing balance for my debtors or my creditors control account is, and that is what the reconciliation is basically about. If there's a difference, then it should tie in with any of those corrections that needs to be made in the following month if I've already closed off my books. So let's quickly just recap what are the steps for doing your reconciliation. So the first step is you prepare your individual creditor or debtor ledgers. Now that is where I show each and every individual creditor by name and create an account for them. Then I show their opening balance for that specific month. And then I show whether they've purchased any goods or if I've purchased any goods, if any payments were made, any goods were returned, and then work out what is the amount owing at the end of the month. Then step 2 is once I've done each and every individual debtor or creditor, then I go and compile a list. Now that list is basically just a list of all the debtors or creditors' names and their balances, and then I total that to get to a total of all the debtors or all the creditors. And then the third step is we do the general ledger account or the T account. That is where I take the totals either from your debtors control or your creditors control columns from the individual journals, which is your debtors journal, your debtors allowance journal, your cash book receipts, or it can be the creditors journal, creditors allowance journal, and the cash book payments. And I document that information in my general ledger account. And then lastly, if we've got any journals in the general journal, then that would also be captured into that general ledger account. And then the last step is just comparing the balance in step 3. It's the balance in step 2 to step 3. Sorry. So that last one is just step 2 and step 3 is then compared. I'll correct that slide when I upload it for you guys. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do activity 2.9. So what we'll do, so I'm going to give you a few minutes just to go through it and then we'll work through it together. So it's on your books on page 57 and 58. So what they want you to do in today's activity, because we looked at the debtors in the previous session, we're going to focus today on creditors. So the first thing is they want you to show the corrected creditors list. Now what that means is there were some errors that were made and that you will see under point 3. They indicate all the different types of errors. So what we have to go do is then based on the errors there, we have to go and adjust the list that they've provided in point number 2. And then the second thing they require of you is to draw up the corrected control account. So that is your general ledger account. So they have given you a general ledger account under point 1, but we then need to take that general ledger account and then go correct it based on what it should be. So what I want you guys to do is I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Just go through all the information. When you get to point 3, please just in pencil or in pen, just indicate where you think you need to correct that information. And then we'll discuss it in class to make sure all of you know what's happening. If you've got any questions, please, you can just type them in the chat function or you can put on your mic and just ask me.